I think it's fair to say that I am currently a massive failure. And that is the word that I'm going to be talking about today and changing. Failure. Because I have accomplished quite a few things in my life and done some things that people are typically pretty proud of, but haven't been super important to me personally. Best example of that's probably like graduation of high school and college. Those meant absolutely nothing to me. But most of the things that I have genuinely cared about and pursued and believed in, I've fallen short of my goals and genuine success at every turn. And I'll give examples of that later on in the video because I'm not here to hide behind those. And so for basically everything that's ever been important to me, I have failed and have yet to see what I would consider success. So in the traditional sense of the word, you could probably call me a failure. But the thing about failure is it's something that everyone experiences and that you have to experience. It's a necessary prerequisite to being successful. Nobody escapes it. But I've been saying one of the best things about failure is that it's finite and it can be fixed. And so you can be really struggling. You can have endless amounts of failure, but you could still end up reaching that peak and reaching your goal. As long as you are still trying to reach that point, it is possible. The only way that you cannot is if you completely stop trying and you quit. And that is the only scenario where I think you should be able to call someone a failure. So that is my English change for today, is that I am taking the word failure as a description for a person and eliminating just that section of the word fail so that it can only be used if it is someone that is no longer trying to succeed in any capacity and they have completely given up. Then I think the word failure is appropriate. However, if you are failing in that moment and have up to that point, everyone goes through that stage. Even people that are wildly successful go through that stage. So what you really are at that point is pre-success, which is why I will be calling that stage where you would maybe call someone a failure as a precessor. Using, of course, the prefix meaning before, and then taking the end of success. And precessor is currently like an obsolete word that essentially used to mean predecessor. So we're just kind of stealing from that, but its origin is pre-success, and that's why we're going with it. Success and performance can have many different factors in this world. And a lot of times they can very much be out of our control. And I don't think that people should really be ashamed of their failures. They are something that you have to go through. And to prove that, I'll go through some of my biggest ones. Because I would say at this point I am extremely familiar with failure. However, I am not comfortable with failure. I experience it all the time. However, I am constantly trying to escape and having extreme difficulty being okay with me being in that state, which honestly is probably the best place you can be if you experience this amount of failure. And I would say over the last 10 years, only 3 things have really been important to me. First one being basketball. Basketball, I've experienced plenty of failure. I wasn't on great teams when I played travel basketball, and that probably harmed my potential to potentially make some teams on the high school team. But it was my passion, so I ended up dropping all other sports going into high school so I could focus on it. And I actually trained very frequently trying to get better so I could make those teams. I thought I should have made quite a few teams. But freshman year, I didn't end up making it, which I was extremely surprised at, as were actually a lot of people that made the team that year. Sophomore year, I was the very last person cut on the last day of tryouts, and then someone quit a couple weeks into the season, and I wasn't allowed to join the team. After that, I continued to ramp up my sweat sessions and began working even harder, getting even better, as roster spots went down and down and down, and plenty of people continued to return to the team. Leading to junior year, I get cut on my birthday, and then senior year, I end up not trying out after working with the team for several months in a row. So basketball completely absorbed my mind at that time, and I was only working on that never made it onto those teams. I was always one or two people off. So even though I was close and I really tried, failed there. When I did finally decide to no longer pursue basketball, I decided to shift my energy into making content on YouTube. And I was actually fairly successful doing this early on. I had pretty consistent growth as I posted every single day. It was fairly niche gaming videos. However, they did pretty well and viewership was kind of taking off early on. I got over 1,000 subscribers fairly quickly, and I was able to grow over the next couple of years as well, however, quite sporadically. I was always told by people how much promise I had with that. However, it just kind of ended up tapering off, and things just started to look worse and worse and worse on that original KWhip_8581 channel. Basically, no matter what I did, especially the last 3 years or so of that channel. And then I started this channel, Wippy Thoughts. I was like, all right, we can do something with some more broad appeal. We can be funnier. We can capture our personality more. We can bring some variety and interesting ideas, and we can be ourselves and really share ourselves. Absolutely no one cares. No one. I mean, it is the worst possible performance I could have seen over these first 5 months or so that I've been doing this channel. I've posted over 150 videos already. I have like 30 subscribers on YouTube. I would have been extremely surprised knowing I only had 30 subscribers on the day I created the channel, because I had over 4,000 on the old channel, and I did announce that I was making a new one to those people. So what I have right now after 5 months, I would have expected more on day one. And it's not just the subscriber count that looks bad, it's the views. The views are atrocious. I'm struggling to get into double-digit views on YouTube at this point, which I was never that bad on my original channel. And I actually have multiple YouTube accounts. I have like 5, because I had a lot of emails that have been left along from like work and school. So I probably account for half of the views on my YouTube, which means there's maybe like 3 people that are actually watching the YouTube videos other than me, instead of the several thousand that would regularly tune in with the last channel. So that's absolutely been some substantial failure and deterioration there. And then the third thing that's been important to me over these years is female relationships. Those really have not gone well at all either. I have not had more than 2 dates with any person ever. And that realm has just never worked well in any capacity at any point in my life. And that's just another colossal failure. Like, also, since graduating college at a pretty good university with a marketing degree, my first job technically after graduating college, I was working security at a nightclub. I did that for like 2 weekends. And then the club was getting like threatened to get shot up. So I'm like, yeah, probably good to stop working that. I also had to buy a suit for that, which I basically only made enough money working there to pay for the suit I had to buy. Then my next job, I was supposed to be like a marketing consultant. The job ended up being that I was selling car keys in a Sam's Club. Yeah, that's what I was actually doing. So that was only like 2 weeks as well. And then I ended up taking a couple months later a $15 an hour position at Activision, which I'm still at. I've gotten a couple raises and we're seeing where that goes, but that route seems pretty flush with failure as well. And funnily enough, this is kind of not really the first time I've even done this. There was a class in college that we were supposed to do like an introduction speech for. And we were supposed to find ways to make it attention-grabbing and kind of unique. I basically walked up and talked through why I'm a failure and why I was going to use that to not be later. I haven't figured out how to do that. That was like 3 years ago that I probably made that initial speech. But I've been talking about failure as a necessary learning process and growth opportunity, which is pretty obvious and apparent for years. And I've been doing it publicly and just kind of exposing myself and my flaws. So I've been doing stupid shit like that for a while, I guess is my point. And my reasoning for detailing all of these shortcomings just now is I still haven't quit. And I still don't plan on it. Because I don't think people should be ashamed of not reaching standards, especially ones that they've set that are just through the walling. I'm never shooting low. I'm trying to do the best possible thing in almost every scenario. So is it really that bad that I've never reached anywhere close to that? I don't know. But I do think that it's the opposite of bad, that I refuse to stop trying. And for that reason, I don't view myself as a failure at this point, or at least what I think a failure should be, because I haven't quit yet. And as long as I don't, I feel like I can be at least proud of that, if I'm not proud of anything else. That's just how it's been. Doesn't mean that's how it's going to stay. Let's move on to our song and video of the day. Song of the day is 8 Mile by Eminem. This is one of my favorite Eminem songs. It's one that I'd listened to for motivation and inspiration for a long time, especially in high school. And I think it's one of Eminem's most underrated tracks, and one that's really about an uprising and a journey to success and fighting through struggles and battling. And it's a fantastic song to listen to if that's a journey that you're going through yourself. And then the video of the day is some Asian dude yelling about not giving up. I've seen this thing generally before, and I just figured, hey, this might be a good one to fit for the theme of the day. And I think I saw it in a Moon video originally, actually. But there were some inspirational videos I was contemplating on doing, but we went with this one instead, which is a little goofier and just odd, but we went with it. But yeah, that'll do it for the Daily Do. Peace out.